Millions of years ago, our solar system looked very different. Planets were reshaping, moons were forming and dying, and cosmic forces were rewriting history in silence. But among all these ancient events, one story stands out. A story of a mysterious icy world that once orbited Saturn. A moon, about 400 kilometers wide, made almost entirely of ice. A moon that should have lived for billions of years, but instead, it was doomed from the start. Today, we uncover the dramatic rise and catastrophic destruction of Saturn's lost moon, and how its violent death gave birth to one of the most beautiful sights in the solar system. In the silent darkness of deep space, Saturn's forgotten moon circled the giant planet, unaware of its fate. This world was made of ancient, frozen water mixed with dust, fragile, cold, and completely at the mercy of gravity. But Saturn isn't gentle. Its gravitational pull is so powerful that even entire worlds can be torn apart. As this moon orbited closer and closer, it crossed an invisible threshold scientists call the Roche limit, the place where a planet's gravity becomes strong enough to literally rip apart a moon. Inside this boundary, no world can survive. The moon spiraled inward over millions of years, slowly drifting toward the point of no return. At first, it appeared stable, but deep inside, stress was building. Saturn's gravity pulled harder on the side facing the planet than the far side. This tidal force stretched the moon, twisted it, cracked it. Microscopic fractures turned into massive fissures. Surface ice shifted. The moon groaned under the strain, a world preparing to break. Scientists believe that eventually the moon drifted too close. It crossed the Roche limit, and Saturn finished what gravity had started. What happened next was sudden, violent, and spectacular. Saturn's pull tore the moon apart. Its icy crust ruptured, its core shattered. 17,000 trillion tons of ice exploded into Saturn's orbit. Massive mountain-sized chunks flew in every direction. For the first time in billions of years, Saturn became the center of one of the most dramatic cosmic events imaginable. A world ripped apart within sight of its own parent planet. At incredible speeds, the debris began to spread. In just a few days, the icy remains of the moon formed a massive disk around Saturn. A glowing halo of ice and rock, the earliest version of the rings we see today. This disk extended wider than Jupiter itself, yet was incredibly thin. On average, only 10 meters thick. Over time, gravity shaped this debris field. Chunks clumped together. Moons inside the rings carved out gaps. Different densities created separate rings. The single ring became many, and Saturn earned its title, the jewel of the solar system. Billions of years later, a spacecraft from Earth arrived, NASA's Cassini mission. Cassini carried the most advanced imaging technology ever sent to the outer planets, and when it began photographing Saturn's rings, scientists were stunned. Images showed details 20 times clearer than anything seen before. The rings were not flat. They were not uniform. They were alive, full of structure, movement, and complexity. During a special moment in Cassini's mission, the sun aligned perfectly above Saturn's equator. This allowed Cassini to see the rings not from the side, but from above, revealing their vertical structure. What Cassini discovered shocked everyone. Among the smooth sheets of ice stood walls of rubble up to 2 miles high. Gigantic towers of ice and rock floating in space, created by the gravitational pull of nearby moonlets. One scientist said, "It felt like flying past an endless shining sheet and suddenly seeing mountains made of ice rising out of nowhere." It was a dimension of the rings that no one had ever imagined. Cassini revealed that the rings are not ancient. They are young, maybe only 100 million years old. They are constantly changing, shifting, colliding, reshaping. Saturn's moons sculpt them endlessly. Space dust slowly darkens them, and in the distant future, they may eventually fade away. But for now, they remain one of the most stunning sights in the universe, all because a small icy world died in the shadow of a giant. Even after its destruction, Saturn's lost moon left behind clues. Tiny particles of ice still carry chemical signatures of the world that once existed. Cassini's instruments detected ancient water ice, organic molecules, strange clumps of frozen dust. These traces suggest the moon may have had a layered interior, an icy shell covering a rugged frozen core. A world that might have once resembled Enceladus or Tethys. Though it no longer exists, its chemical fingerprints still orbit Saturn today. Within the rings, Cassini discovered something astonishing. Tiny moonlets forming and dissolving in real time. These miniature moons, sometimes only kilometers wide, shape the rings from within. They carve channels, create waves, and build vertical walls of ice. Scientists call this process cosmic recycling. Fragments of the destroyed moon gather into clumps. Those clumps form moonlets. Moonlets are torn apart again, and the cycle continues. The rings are not static. They are alive. One of Cassini's most shocking discoveries was this: Saturn's rings will not last forever. The icy particles slowly fall into Saturn's atmosphere. Each second, hundreds of kilograms of material rain down onto the planet. Scientists call this ring rain. If this process continues, Saturn could lose its rings entirely in just a few 100 million years, a blink of an eye in cosmic time. Our generation lives in a rare moment. We exist at the exact time when Saturn has its full, stunning rings. Future civilizations may only see a plain gas giant and wonder what happened. In 2017, Cassini began its final mission phase, the grand finale. To avoid contaminating Saturn's moons, the spacecraft dove between Saturn and its rings 22 times, a region no spacecraft had ever entered. With each dive, Cassini collected the most detailed data ever recorded: the density of ring particles, their age, their composition, and the exact amount of ring rain falling into Saturn. Even in its final moments, Cassini sent new clues about the lost moon that started it all. On September 15th, 2017, Cassini plunged into Saturn's atmosphere and was destroyed. But its data lives on, continuing to rewrite our understanding of the rings. Today, Saturn's rings stand as a reminder. Even destruction can create beauty. From a doomed icy world to 17,000 trillion tons of shattered ice, to a glowing halo admired from Earth. This is the story of transformation. A world lost, a jewel gained. And as we look at Saturn in our night sky, we're not just seeing rings. We're seeing the remains of a moon that once lived, died, and became one of the most breathtaking wonders in the universe.